The Bible's an idol. Now today, I want to teach you about the invisible God, like I've been teaching. When you see me standing here, that's all you get. I don't have Bibles, I don't have churches, and I know I'm surrounded by 2,200,000,000 Bible worshipers. They won't let me in their church. When Jesus said, if you've seen me, you've seen God. Now how could he tell Philip that? Because the Spirit was in him. Jesus said they receive the Holy Ghost not because they see it not. People want something they can see today. I was walking around here when I come to Jesus. I'd never been to church. I thought they was all alike. And I said, Lord, and I was praying an effectual, fervent prayer I needed to know. I said, Lord, which church do I supposed to belong to? What church did I supposed to? And he spoke to me right here. Right here. The first time I remember him speak right in my ear. He said, I want you to be only a Christian. And I said, hey, that was the voice of God speaking to me. Now when the apostles went forth, what did they have? They didn't have a truckload of Bibles. They didn't have no big buildings. They didn't have them but the Holy Ghost. They preached the gospel with the Holy Ghost. Now what I'm telling you today is spiritual truth. And this is all you're going to ever get. If you can't accept me standing here, I'm standing here now, and God can tell me where to go, what to do, everything, where to live, because He lives in me. Christ lives in me. That's all you're going to get. Now you're looking at a man, they won't even let me in a church. Why won't they let me in other churches to speak? Because I'm liable to tell that the deacon is running around with the preacher's wife. You see, because they don't want no truth. They don't want Christ in their churches. They want their big Bibles, their big buildings. They want their preacher in a $2,000 suit and been through some Bible college. So that's what people want today, and that's what you got. You got 2,200,000,000 so-called Bible worshipers, 1 billion Koran worshipers, 1 billion Gita cow worshipers, 1 billion Buddha worshipers. I'm surrounded by all them. How did I make it through all this world and come out and just be a Christian? Jesus had to deliver me. Now if you want this, then you'll be amongst the few, because not many people want something you can't see. See, they don't want something. So if you want to fellowship sinners, just go to church. That's full of sinners. If you go down there to Jimmy Swaggart's church, they went to it for years. And then they found out that he was an adulterer. Well, most of the people in the Assemblies of God are adulterers. Most all of them. I've been around Pentecostals a lot. Most all of them are sinners. So if you want to celebrate and live with sinners, go to church. It's like a spider web. Satan has built the world like a big spider web. It traps everybody that goes through it. It gets you. People, they just can't stand to make it through the world just with them and Jesus. It's just too hard on them nowadays, because the whole world's full of bar rooms and fellowship and sinners. Why do you go out to eat dinner? You like to be with people. Why do you go to big ball games? You feel safe with a bunch of people. Why do you go to big musical concerts? Why do you go to these big churches? You feel safe with all these people. The doctor takes care of you. Everybody takes care of you. You can't serve this invisible God. You have to fellowship sinners. Jesus said, I want you to be only a Christian. Now I'm teaching you how to be spiritual. All you get is me. When I come, all you get is me. I don't have a book. I don't have a building. All I have is God in me. I tell you that God told me the Bible's an idol. It's the mark of the beast. They don't want to hear those words. They don't want to take this hard way. This is the crucified way. You must crucify your flesh. So Jesus told me, when I speak, just let Him speak through me. Speak the things He's put in me. And all these things I've taught you about how the Lord does this and how He does that. If you want to serve God, you've got to serve the invisible God. What did Jesus bring with Him? I'll tell you a little story to show you the difference between Jesus and the Holy Father. One day Jesus was walking around, had big crowds of people around Him, and He stopped. And He said, somebody touched me. And it's, they call it apriete, and everybody was pressing in on Him and around Him. And Peter said, Lord, crowds are all around you and everything. You say somebody touched you. And it amazed Peter because he couldn't see what happened. But what did Jesus see? Jesus seen something happened. Something spiritual happened. See, these things happen around you all the time, but you can't see it because you're not spiritual. And Jesus said, He kept looking around. He said, I perceive that virtue's gone out of me. Now I'm going to tell you what happened. And He knew something happened because His Father lived in Him. And what the Father did, He told this little woman over here, Jesus wasn't even in on it. Jesus didn't even know it was happening. The God of heaven lived in him. And this little woman come up and touched his garment. God told her, said, if you touch his garment, I'll heal you. She had an issue of blood. Well, that's faith. See, Abraham lived by faith. When God tells you something and you do it, like he tells me, just go speak. I just go speak because God's in me. Well, she went up and touched his garment. She kept the faith. She obeyed God. She done what her Creator told her to do. And finally she came and she bowed down before Jesus. She told him all the truth. And Jesus said, your faith has made you whole. Your faith, you can't see it. You can't see faith. You can't see that God spoke to me. You can't see God in me, but he is. The Holy Ghost is in me. Jesus touched me. I've actually seen the Holy Ghost move in me and look like blue flames come off my hands. I've seen paralyzed people heal, blind people, all kinds of things because the Holy Ghost was in me. And I was out there healing them sinners. But I'm telling you a truth. God is right here. You either take this or you go to church. You got two choices. You either choose Barabbas, who gets a sword and tries to cut off everybody's head, or you choose Jesus, who come in the name of God. And the apostles went forth with no books. All they had was the Holy Ghost. And he said, it's not I that lives, but Christ lives in me. So God spoke to me. And he said, I want you to be only a Christian. Now that's hard to be in this world today because you're alone. I'm alone. I've been alone here in this place teaching you these things now for 5 or 6 years. You've got to get this. This air you breathe, it keeps you alive. This invisible God, he keeps you alive. That's what's going to raise you from the dead. That is the power of God, the invisible God. Do you want this? All you see is this me standing here. But that ain't all that's standing here. He told me all these revelations and truths that I have because he is a spirit. And that's what made me different. The Spirit makes me different. You go to them churches, say if you go to a Baptist church, you got to be there at 10 o'clock. You got to have Sunday school. And then 11 o'clock they have the big worship service, And then that evening they go back and they used to have training union. I don't know what they got now. But they have prayer meetings, and then Wednesday night you go to prayer meeting. You do that for 40 years, something you can see. You can see them Bibles. You can see that big church. You can see all them adulterous people sitting in there, and you know they're crooks. And so you're going to be in with sinners where you're Pentecostal, Catholic, or got all them elaborate robes and everything. That ain't God. God is a spirit. He's invisible. He lives in me. This is his temple. You either make your choice. You're going to go with the invisible God, or you're going to go with the God of this world that built these big synagogues. They got some beautiful ones, the Mormons have, and Jehovah's Witnesses, and especially the Catholics. I've never been to St. Peter's Basilica, but they tell me that thing is amazing to walk in. You think they have to have something from God. No, that's the God of this world. God is outside of that. God lives in us. We're God's temple. This is the Holy Ghost. So make your choice. And then when you go down to die, remember what I told you. The only one's going to save you and take you into the spirit world is the spirits of God. And remember this, Jesus Christ has the keys of death. The Bible people don't have it. They come by me, help me, Harlan, help. No, I'm helping you right now. Believe in the invisible God, because he said, be only a Christian.